Okay. All right. Well, we started the recording. This is the official start to season 7. We're doing a session -1, which is we're going to figure out what we're going to figure out to do in a little bit. And then if everybody's feeling good, we might just jump into what we might do. This is
Okay.
this is Jeff Frank, by the way.
Hi,
One of
Jeff.
the people of Knights of the Roll Table, the podcast you might be listening to now.
You might be. Wait, are we suddenly
Hey,
some
they
other
could be reading a
podcast?
transcript. You don't know. They could be reading it, or
Yeah.
could be
maybe,
telling
or
them
maybe
about
they
it.
were listening to something and then it just automatically like switched over to ours, and they didn't mean to listen to ours.
Yeah. Okay.
But here we are.
Our 7th season of Knights of the Roll Table. We just wrapped up in your timeline the 6th season of the podcast, and we're starting the 7th now. And well, the purpose of this episode is to kind of figure out where we might go, what might happen, and to kind of lay out to the three of you, Carlos, Matt, and Jen, what the DMs multiple of this season, which includes me and Zach and Chris, have been talking about and what we're going to do in this exciting season of Knights of the Roll Table.
Knights of the Roll
Hooray!
Questions, comments, concerns?
We're Knights of the
So
Roll
many.
Table.
I have one.
We have a new theme song, and we're going to make it up now.
That was Monty Python.
I know who Zach's playing, Igneous. I know who Jen's playing, Diedre. I know who Matt's playing, Branch. I know who Chris is playing, Biscuit. And I know who I'm playing, Yenni. Jeff, once you rotate out of the DM chair, who will you be playing this season?
Oh.
Well,
Should
funny
we
you
tell
should
them
ask.
that we have the 3 groups picked out?
Yes. So this is going to be a story told in train. That's triple twain. 3 parts. It's told simultaneously by 3 DMs. Occasionally or at the same time. We're gonna figure it out.
Well,
but I'm gonna be doing the first part. Is all you need to know is I'm doing the first part.
Yeah.
I claimed
Okay.
it. It's mine. I licked it, so it's mine.
right.
And that's where we're gonna start. And so we have these people here, and then Chris, do you want to reveal, or do you want to keep it a secret?
No,
Who's in your section?
well, I think the first thing is the goal is that, and correct me if I'm wrong, Zach, is that, Jeff's going to record his whole thing, and then I'm going to record my whole thing, and then Zach's going to record his whole thing, and then we might edit it to where it's like cutting back and forth, so they're all happening simultaneously, or is it going to be we're going to hear all of Jeff's DM stuff and then switch to my group and then switch to Zach's group? Like this,
my
we don't have to leave this in,
suggestion. My suggestion was to each of us take 2 shifts, basically.
Oh yeah, split it up in 2.
So Jeff does like
First
2
half.
or 3 sessions or whatever, and then you go, and then I go, and maybe each of our arcs comes to kind of a
halfway point,
Act 1 conclusion, or heightened cliffhanger kind of thing. Yeah. And then we can kind of reconvene, talk about how it's going, see if there might be some points to wind together a little bit, and then we'll go back to Jeff, and he finishes, Chris finishes, I finish. And we could probably run it. I think that's just enough kind of mixing it up that we could probably publish it in that order and not kind of overly confuse ourselves.
The other thing is, for everybody else, is that we know that our goal is we're not going to make this, anywhere as long as previous. Like we're going to commit to, a shorter season. So
not 2 years.
So not 2 years, not even 2 months, but it may be like, 6 episodes or 5 episodes or something like that, like very short, and then it switches. So like it's like we're gonna commit to shorter arcs so we can really, wrap up the story, and it's gonna be like at this point everything is kind of moving along, and we're kind of in the end game. So we don't want to. Zach and Jeff and I kind of talked about, like, we're not going to introduce, here's this. Oh, let's do this, tragic backstory. Or like we're not going to go off on like random new characters or anything like that. It's just going to be like full steam ahead kind of conclusion stuff.
Cool. Will you guys rein us in if we start going like way off the rails so that we actually?
I
stick
think
to
so. I mean, I
Okay.
think that'll
Just be like, hey guys, just don't look at the wanted posters in the tab. That's not the point.
There's nothing on the bulletin board. There are no other jobs. There's nothing else to do. You have one mission.
I think from a podcasting standpoint, we're obviously figuring this out, and doing it between 3 different DMs is a little different than maybe how some other people have done it, and like having this simultaneous story where we're trying to keep it mysterious but also keep it cohesive at the same time is challenging, but I think it's also kind of interesting because it's a collaboration between everybody, and making sure it's kind of like has some sort of narrative. It's very much like when we do a long form improv, and we're all kind of taking turns going left, right, zigzag. I mean, we have some
Is this season a Herald?
kind of
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
a good way to think
it'll
about it.
also be 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So we'll be eliminating a storyline
That's
and a
right.
character.
Yeah. Branch is
Any
gone.
character that's not
Yeah.
interesting, we're just gonna say you're done. The audience will vote it out.
See ya.
Tiamat ate them. Yeah.
What if
Also,
the
there's
two
going
of
to be a
them
world's
tie?
worst section.
The
at some
realm's
point.
worst. Yeah.
Realm's worst.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's see. We've briefly introduced some of the characters that are going to be in this and that you guys are going to be playing. I think it might be worthwhile to kind of maybe check in with each character right now before we do our kind of common prelude, just to kind of remember and recall where we were when we last left these characters, and maybe speculate on what their interests were, kind of following the end of the action from the last season. Now, most of these guys in this, you guys are playing from my season, which was season 4 a few years ago, the alternate side of our main cast there. And in that season, we had the events there in the jungles of Castor, and you guys were playing
Red
together.
Basin.
Yeah, and Red Basin was the other side of that with the sandworms. You fought a giant genie in a big cave, and came out successful after realizing you shouldn't probably fight your alter egos that you were also playing at the same time in that season, and
That was fun.
united and defeated the common bad guy in that one. So we have Yenni, and we have Biscuit, and we have Diedre, and we have Igneous from that season. Let's follow up. What after that season? I don't think that we spent a little time with Igneous. Is that right, Zach? Igneous was in a short thing with us in one
Igneous
of
is
the
in the last
portals,
season.
right? Yeah.
We all did season 5. Igneous, Diedre, and Yenni. That was
That was
we were
I
in
was
the
running
Underdark.
that.
That's right.
Yeah. We did all the portal
Yeah.
stuff, and then we faced off against why am I
Narsendrell.
blanking on it? Narsendrell. Yes, that's right. And took him down.
Yeah. But originally with that group was Matt was playing Rx, who's the Tabaxi warlock rogue or rogue.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think he's a roguelock.
Yeah. And so Rx is not with this group right now for reasons that we'll figure out later. But yeah, and then yeah, we saw Igneous last season kind of pop in during the little section that I ran when the group from last season, Igneous was looking for was hunting for Melbourne, who was imprisoned by Sozeb the Industrious, and they successfully got him out. So that's the last time that we saw Igneous.
And I know he's made some little guest appearances, but has Biscuit been in any like adventuring since season 4? Because he went to work with
Bartleby.
Bartleby, right?
So-
at kind of Knights Tech HQ.
Yeah, so the way I kind of thought about it is Biscuit was working with Bartleby on tech. At the end of season 4, he also was very interested in finding Celius and going to the library. And so I think that happened, even though it just happened like off, we didn't see that story. That would be a fun one shot of just like Biscuit and Celius talking about books and stuff like that. But
a riveting episode.
but that probably happened. But maybe they went to the archive, and that's when Celius took over the archive or something like that. But I think at that point, at some point, he met, or he was paired up with Bartleby, and then they worked on the portal technology.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's probably hasn't been in the field too much, but maybe Biscuit had his own little side quest journey of like finding other wizards that were on his father's list that he gave him, like 9 wizards he had to hunt down. He found 2 of them that we know of. So I think in between things, and like with portal technology, he's been able to find a little bit more, and that's how I'm kind of justifying how he's leveled up. He's like learned more things as a wizard and gained more spells and gained more knowledge and kind of field tested a lot of stuff himself and things like that. So probably not had a lot of like heroic missions, but definitely like tried out things and like went to get things and found people and things like that.
It makes sense for a wizard to be able to level up by like hanging out at a library. Like,
yeah,
they're
studying
the
real hard.
academics of
Yeah.
I read a book and now I know everything.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump over, and then I'm remembering now. Diedre had a little spot where she met her former fiance. Was that right? That
Yeah, she
we
was
had that
she
little.
was engaged
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
and kind of disappeared because she comes from a somewhat affluent background. So yeah, we met that. Well, she had her brother was Erickson, and then shoot. Oh my
Hold
gosh,
on, I'll look
I
it
have
up.
it somewhere.
I have it too somewhere.
Listen, the things that are in my notes are so bad because you know what I do have in my notes is Huxtable's Choice, which is a romance novel I gifted to Theo.
Oh yeah, Huxtable's Choice.
That's what's really
Huxtable's
important here.
Oh my god.
Oh, Xavian Corthalis was my
Xavian,
fiance.
that's right. Xavian Corthalis.
Xavian.
Oh, such a good name.
Listen,
Did you come up with that?
I don't know if I did.
Xavian. It's such a
I
good
don't know
name
where
for
that
like
name came from.
yeah, and married to Diedre.
Well, they're not
Xavian.
married. They're just they're.
I mean, well,
engaged,
yeah.
so.
And then we found out he was gay, and he didn't really want to be in the marriage, and so it worked out. Anyway, but yes, Xavian Corthalis.
Did he marry your brother, or am I mixing that up with something else?
He is interested in her brother.
Okay.
They haven't. I don't think they've married. Well, we don't know.
Was your brother
No.
Phineas, or is that someone else's brother?
Erickson is my brother.
Erickson's
Phineas
brother.
is Billie Eilish's brother.
Yes, there's also that. But I think I thought we had a Phineas somewhere in this, but I read a lot of books, and so it's entirely possible I'm blending
I don't
things.
think we've had a Phineas.
I don't know.
It was with a PH, the one I have in my head. So.
Not that I remember.
But
I don't know.
Anything, Jen, do you think of note for Diedre kind of following where we kind of last left her, or maybe some goals or accomplishments over the many months kind of since then?
So she has really kind of realized that she felt like a little bit of a one-trick pony, and so she kind of similarly to Biscuit like dove into some studies. I don't know if there's anywhere that it makes sense, but basically my plan for her is to kind of, she's essentially seeking like more of an intellectual approach to combat and just handling of scenarios. Essentially like seeking out, I don't know if there's anything that would fit within the group or any. I would be lying if I said that I'd really fleshed this out, but like ideally seeking out some kind of like almost like a sensei or a tutor. And like the whole plan is that she's taking a couple levels of wizard.
Maybe Biscuit helped her out.
Yeah, maybe like I would love it if
I could
like, if
teach
you're
you a few
open to
things,
that,
Diedre. It's no
Chris.
problem.
Then yeah, she just like ran off with Biscuit and is still, she's very much like not ready to go confront her hometown, like especially like she already kind of dealt with the fiance bit. And so she just realized like I've sharpened my blade, it's time to sharpen my mind. So yeah, she's kind
I
of
like that.
And remind me where she hails from.
Oh, I think it was Prescotia was what I called it.
It's in the northern territory.
Right on.
I called it Prescotia. And she was from a very affluent household. She was kind of the golden child, but like got really bored really easily and ducked out.
There she is.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh, look, yes, that's me, darling. Thank you.
Let's jump over Carlos. There's Biscuit. We love him. He's adorable.
He's so cute.
How's it going? I'm just a little guy.
He looks a little like Bach, like what I envision Bach.
Yes. Bach.
All right, Carlos, let's jump over to you. Let's talk about Yenni. What do we think, since we last left Yenni, were some major kind of goals or maybe things that they would have been up to between now and between then and now? Or some things to remind ourselves about.
Sort of look where we left off Yenni, and two important things sort of stood out. The first one, which I'd completely forgotten about, is Yenni was aged 10 years through happenstance in the last campaign. So she is just immediately 10 years older than she was at that moment, which
means she's like 30. Yeah.
No, she went from 30 to 40.
Oh, she went from 30 to 40. Okay.
She's got like a streak of gray now in her hair, and immediately probably no change. But now that there's been months or possibly even like a full year for things to kind of develop, it's probably led to some shifts in thinking. Her
bards just don't play good music anymore.
She's getting into real estate.
Yeah,
that's right.
Her back hurts.
And then the other thing is that Yenni actually ended up coming across her birth parents in the last campaign, and had not a very polite interaction with them, especially because at that moment in time she just wasn't in a particular state to sort of deal with what that means, or sort of how to deal with it in a mature way. So I think in between that time, Yenni probably took off to find her adopted family again. And the reason I say find is because the Donk family is part of like a roaming orc tribe. So they're not like in the same place twice. They tend to like move around. So she probably took a month-long kind of journey to go visit them, but that necessitated some amount of, trekking, adventuring, before actually reaching them, and then probably spend some time with them the first time in years, if not like a full decade or two. That she's seen them, and just kind of like to try and understand in her own Yenni way what family means, and specifically like what her family means, and maybe to try and get a sense of if if I recall correctly, in the last season we saw her, I sort of revealed that Yenni has essentially a journal, but all she does is write like the same words over and over, like rock, just for like pages and pages and pages. Because there's not a lot of thoughts that are going necessarily through her head. Um, and
Journal, okay.
I guess what's happened now is that she keeps a journal with probably like someone like Diedre gave her the advice of like, oh, you could use that journal to like sort out your feelings, and it's just alternating pages of the word mad and the word sad like over and over for like dozens and dozens of pages. So she's kind of been, trying to sort these feelings out, these sort of like complicated
Okay.
things, and she may not necessarily like have an answer, but she's kind of ready to come back, pick up the axe again, and sort of think about that in a more actionable way now, I would say.
Did Yenni have a cursed axe? Or
Yenni has
a special? Was the
yes,
axe
it's like a
special in some way?
Hydra axe. The axe talks. I believe Chris did the voice. Chris, do you remember the voice of Yenni's axe? Gangstery, maybe?
Yeah. I can. I'll go to that episode. I think I remember which one it is.
Yeah, Jeff was just asking me about my weapon, if I had like a cursed weapon or something like that. It's not exactly cursed. It's infernal.
It's infernal.
It
Just a
talks to
weapon
me.
from
It
the
wants
nine
me to kill
hells,
things, but Yenni's into that. So
Yeah.
it's
Do you remember
it's not
when you
asking her
got-
to kill her friends. It's just
No,
asking like, "Hey, what about some blood? Huh?" Like that
Just
does
like
that
action.
vaguely sound like it? Yeah.
It's unhealthy action.
Right.
All right, and then anything else to like bring back to mind for Yenni, just or have kind of help us reconnect with that character?
She and Diedre are tight, but they haven't seen each other in a while, so I think there's just going to be a lot of like catching up between them two specifically. And then I
Have we been
remember
writing letters?
maybe actually,
Yenni's
Diedre
letters are
writes
just like
letters,
mad.
and like Yenni just like draws a thumbs up.
she just like wraps something around a rock that has like 2 sentences on it. It goes like, "My mom thinks you're cute."
I'm here for this.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, so Zach, let's head over and let's talk about Igneous. We saw him pop up a couple times in recent. When was the most recent time we saw them? When we were doing all the portal stuff?
Yeah, it was probably when he was searching for Melvin. I think that was Chris's demon escapades.
Mm-hmm. Remind us, or like just kind of thinking about like where Igneous was when we kind of like last left him in terms of like goals and headspace. I know that being from the fire realm, that was like part of the kind of underlying character development of them was like this out of fish out of water characteristic being in this plane for Igneous. How's he been dealing with that, and how's that kind of working with anything that he's been up to recently?
I think that at least in the glimpses we've seen him, he's been kind of working alone, and I think his kind of like shadow knight, whatever the monk subclass, shadowy subclass is, lends itself to like solitary stealth missions. And so he's done that. He was doing that, looking for Melvin on his own. Which he's good at, but also I think he's always had a sense of kind of like he fits in well with people and he fits in well with a group, but he never has felt like really super close to anyone in particular. So he's kind of a good team player, but still kind of a loner at the same time. And he, I'm sure part of him searches for closer connection. So he's always occupied that space a little bit, and I think he's still there. I think something organic, something outside circumstances that would affect him a lot, I think, are the fire army. All the elemental armies are back and in allyship since in last season we kind of straightened out their feuding in ways the syndicate was trying to separate them, and so they're inclined to be supporting the Knights' efforts, and so the Fire Army might be round and about and under friendly command, and so that would be important to him in one way or another, and could be something where he might be tempted in some ways to kind of rejoin his culture. I don't know if I've really fully described like exactly what happened, but my thoughts like of like how he came about to be where we met him are that his father was killed basically in Sharkandris's takeover. Like was one of the knights and stuff, and and he got recruited at that time. And so that was always a like embittered, difficult family didn't cope. Like he left and father wasn't around, and so other members of his family kind of like didn't lost a lot of resources at the same time, and so it wasn't hard for him to take off and ditch the army, but then he didn't really have
There's nothing
a clear place to go. He was wandering for a while, found the Knights as a sense of connection, but he's still a little bit of a loner. So I think that sense of like finding his like real place in the world is something that he's still looking for.
Do you, in terms of like what's keeping him busy, do you think like more just kind of like solo missions and like spy missions and kind of like anything that's like, you know, hey, we need like a lone person to go and do stuff? Is he still doing Knight's business?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And I don't think he's necessarily wants that for himself. Like he'd rather be out on a team, but I think just inadvertently because it works well and because he's good at it, they repeatedly kind of send him out on solo missions, and that really is reinforcing that cycle of kind of loneliness.
I got you. Any major things to kind of remind ourselves about the character of Igneous, or possessions or items, or bits of story reveal that we might have forgotten that would be important?
Does he still have an ice fist?
Yes.
Ice fist. He's got a staff of jumping. He is the what do you call it? The not beacon, the representation of the Phoenix.
He has the Phoenix Force
or whatever. No. What's her face? Sendal is his like patron, but he's not a warlock. But if you know,
no, but he's a level 1 cleric.
Yeah,
the essence of the Phoenix is essentially what his religion would be, and so he met her once, and that's a big deal, and took 1 level in cleric after that. He has the anklet of Puka, so he can regain key points if he can roll a 6. Awesome. Those are the main things. In leveling up, I was thinking like, well, what would if I could get if I had a feat, maybe I could just like boost up his intelligence a little bit. But what was next on the level up for monk was Diamond Soul.
Diamond Body. Oh, yeah.
Which is your mastery of key points. Your mastery of key grants you proficiency in all saving throws. Additionally, when you have a saving throw and fail, you can spend 1 key point to re-roll it and take the second result, which is pretty freaking awesome.
Okay.
Like there's some monk levels that are like, that's okay. And there's some monk levels that are just like, well, that's just step by step elevating a human to like God status.
Yeah.
Just becoming the like absolutely spiritual peak.
He doesn't need to eat or drink or
can walk all languages, I believe. Like
he's one with
can't be
space
poisoned.
and time. Yeah. Can levitate anywhere on whim.
Which are also like all those things are kind of like they reinforce the like, well, if you're in a party of 5 and one of you can survive that, but everybody else is taken out and you have to deal with them, it's not gonna be helpful. But if you're just one person that can like, if you want to get away, just climb up the wall or run across water or
meditate your way through. Yeah.
jump off a cliff because you can slow fall, then those are much more useful as an independent person. So another reason he kind of gets sent off on his own.
So then he has 1 level of cleric and then 14 of monk?
Yeah.
Dope. Very dope. All right. Well, let's go over to Matt and let's talk about Branch. We've seen Branch pretty recently. And I don't think we've determined an amount of time between the very end and now. I would say maybe just a matter of a month or two, just certainly not too much time, maybe like 6 to 12 weeks. And I mean, I know we just kind of wrapped on the season there. Would there be anything like in a downtime or in a some other goals that would be like something that Branch would want to do or check on before kind of having to come back to duty?
Well, I know that where we left him, he and Clump wanted to commence more human face pressing, which I believe is kissing. That's the last thing I have in any of my notes about him.
I think we determined that the way that goblins kiss in our universe is they just kind of rub their teeth together.
Oh yeah,
because we don't really understand. They just go,
I get it.
I
They have
love
such
you.
thin lips.
we are getting close to each other.
Yes. So it's a miracle that there's more that there are goblins anymore. How do they reproduce? No one knows. They're like eels. Yeah, I imagine, especially if it's only been the amount of time you're talking about, he's probably spent most of that time like off with like that's a new relationship pretty much with Clump. So I imagine he's spending some time with her.
Awesome. How long is the courtship period for goblins?
I mean, they don't live very long. I mean, I think if he'd aged 10 years like Yenni did, he'd be dead.
How married are you?
She's only a little pregnant. No. I don't know. I think it's probably pretty serious by now, but I doubt there's any goblin wedding bells going on right now. Just because timing.
I don't think Branch or Clump are particularly like tied into goblin culture. They're both kind of like loners, so
yeah,
they're probably just figuring it out between the two of them to some extent.
They watch some animals and they're like, "Oh, we should do that." Okay. I will be like horse, and you get on my back now.
Just a smash cut of them observing different animals and then being like, now at this time, yes, we will be doing that now. Wonderful. Anything under the hood of Branch that's kind of unresolved to kind of think about? I in terms of like, I mean, he's got Clump now. Any other things for him so far as like connecting to any backstory elements or
I mean, we've pretty much covered his backstory pretty well at this point.
Yeah,
throughout
I think so.
Throughout his run on the podcast. I think I really do think it's like any new things are going to come out of the relationship with Clump more than likely. Okay. If there's some conflict that he needs to deal with, it's probably coming from there or because of somebody did something with her or whatever. But I imagine I'd like to think they're happy.
Well, get ready for some bad news at the start of this season. No.
Yeah, and he has his amulet of minor wild shape just as a reminder, which Zach kindly gave me so I could be the animorph I always wanted to be and just turn into animals when I want.
Yes.
But they are not used in combat. They're all CR zeros.
Gotcha.
So
and then in terms of leveling, Branch was already pretty close to level 15.
He was
level 15. Okay. Yeah. And Branch is all druid?
He's all druid, and I gave myself the telepathic feat at one point so that I could actually talk as animals. Because that was getting annoying.
Does he look the same? The artist wants to know.
I think he does, although he now has 1,000 forms, which lets him cast alter self at will.
Oh.
So if he has a reason to not look like something,
like a
like
goatee
himself,
or
yeah,
mullet or something like that.
like if he needed to not look like a goblin to get in somewhere, he now can, instead of just hiding under a cloak like he did at the very beginning.
Pretending to be a trash can. Yeah, I think that's a great catch up. Hello, listeners of the Rolled Table. This is Jeff, your DM for Season 7, Part 1. We back at it. A whole new season coming at you, and I'm starting it off. We hope you're having a great time listening to it. And you know what? The best way to support us is to leave a rating and review on whatever podcast service you're listening to right now. Leave that review 5 stars. Check out our Instagram at Rolled Table and join us on our Discord server where you can have discussions with other fans about the show. Ask questions from us, the cast, see official character artwork, discuss your favorite moments, and discuss your own characters or campaigns. Search for Knights of the Rolled Table on Discord or click the link in our show notes. Some of the combat music featured in this episode was created by Weston Gardner, a good friend, and he can be found over on his Patreon. It's Arcane Anthems. All of the art for our characters and maps are illustrated by our very own Chris Daly, who also has a Patreon called Dungeon Heads. There you can select from an ever-growing gallery of character art and download it for free. Check out Dungeon Heads on Patreon or follow his art at Dungeon Heads on Twitter and Instagram. You can also catch Chris on the podcast Comic Book Keepers, always a great listen. If you have feedback or questions or want to put an ad on the show, contact us, knightsoftherolltable@gmail.com. We know we are not the only D&D actual play podcast out there, so we really, truly, honestly, thank you so much for listening and giving us a chance as we start this 7th season of Knights of the Rolled Table. That's it for our announcements. Now, go out and make life an adventure! As we know, the world has been kind of going in this real strange direction, even as you guys in your time apart from each other, your time of kind of doing things independently, after fighting all of these big battles and after having all of these adventures, the world seems to be not changing course in the way that the stories of old and the legends of old would tell you, which is there are times of hardship, and then there are battles, and then there's times of prosperity. As you guys are kind of fleeting out through the land, you see that there is still disharmony, and there still is turmoil in kind of places throughout the realms that you're kind of traveling and going through, where the mundane and everyday that you've experienced before is just a little bit more difficult. People are a little less trusting of common currency. It seems like getting from one place to another, roads are a little less like maintained. When you get to villages and towns, there's evidence of like maybe people have left certain areas. There's evidence of like, people migrate, like groups of people migrating to different parts of the realm. You'll get to certain areas and it will have been fallen by war, or there will have been something that happened just a few years ago or maybe a few months ago, and there's still like an ongoing kind of recovery process.
Jeff, would you say, is it like people are sort of like moving away? She says, give me a minute, I'm sorry. Are they kind of like moving away, like I'm going to get out of here because I feel like this is going to be dangerous, so we're going to try to find somewhere where it's like like not metropolitan areas, or kind of like I'm going to go to my aunt's place. She lives out further away, like that kind of thing.
It seems like that, maybe, but also maybe even in cities, like it's just there's less. Maybe if some of you are, have done a lot of traveling kind of before the events of the podcast and before the events have started unfolding, it just seems like it's a little less of a friendly world. There's just a little bit of maybe all of the years and months and long stretches of uh, unknown, of fear of these big monsters coming, these beasts, these things that have happened to parts of the realm have kind of left people in a different mood and have kind of affected in a very deep way the entirety of the world. And it is with that kind of unsureness as you go around, whether you're continuing to do night's business and it hasn't slowed down. You continue, Igneous, to have missions that come in where you need to spy on a new network of evildoers, that you need to disrupt supplies of an army that's forming in one area of the world, that just kind of doesn't seem to kind of be stopping. And as you guys are kind of mulling this over and kind of really thinking about it, you're not sure, and especially Yenni, now in your older age here, being kind of pushed forward 10 years, it seems like, Yenni, is this part of like kind of getting older, and then now all of these things, is this the an older person's view of the world, or are things like actually different? And so you're kind of thinking about that as well. And Branch, even though you're kind of lovelorn at this point, and like the blinders of like a new relationship have kind of been on you, you both kind of are telling these stories to each other as you're getting to know each other about the old days, about where you grew up, and things that went on, and you're kind of like, well, it's kind of different now, isn't it?
Yeah,
And
I think like Branch would have been going into cities to like get supplies or whatever before he met up with all of you, so he would know like, oh, people were a little bit more trusting, even though it was all like under hood, and now not so much. That would make sense.
yeah, and it's not even it's not even outward violence, but it's maybe even just tension. There's just a tension in the air. And Biscuit, as you're kind of working through all of the gathering in places of study that normally might be full of people sharing and happy and kind of a joyous world around academia, there is this sort of sense of they're looking in history books trying to find answers. They're looking through arcane tomes to try and find solutions to these problems, as opposed to like innovating and like changing things up. There's less like new discoveries in the arcane. As you're kind of looking through the magic, it's like, well, why hasn't anything been discovered recently? Like, hasn't anybody, you're doing this kind of cutting edge research, and there's really not a lot of people doing that. And as you're reading back on tomes of times in the past, you're kind of have this feeling of like, well, why isn't that happening anymore? Like, what is different now? And
People just keep on asking for spells about like, how do I create water supplies, and like, and all these things. Like, they just want to store stuff and put it in a bunker, and everybody's kind of giving up.
Yeah, and so that's definitely part of it. And Diedre, even as you're coming from affluence and maybe even having the perks and the joys of a full purse, even now, you're kind of looked upon, even though you hide it well, there is still this like air of suspicion around, somebody who dresses a little nicer and maybe has some of the finer things. You're kind of looked at a little bit differently. And certainly among the common folk that you have kind of come to know and are, feel more comfortable in, there is kind of a general unease as to the sort of common joy of everyday life. And that's still kind of hitting you as you're kind of processing and looking through the problems that you used to have as a um, in your home realm, maybe aren't the same problems that even your family and other people of your status would be having or thinking about at this moment. So all of those things for each of you has kind of like slowly been in the back of your mind, kind of rolling around. And as on reflection of the events of the day, it seems, all of this is kind of still the puzzle that you're working in the back of your head. And it is around this time, wherever you are in the world and whatever you're doing, that you get a handwritten letter. And you see that it's sealed with a piece of wax, and that wax is the seal of the knights. And it has a special emblem on it that shows that it's from the High Council of the Knights. And as you open it, it's kind of unusual, because if you get a message from the Knights, you usually are getting it telepathically. You're usually getting it through your tattoo. Somebody might come and meet you somewhere. You might a portal might open up and someone might tell you to join you on a quest or something. But you get this handwritten letter that has this seal on it, and sure enough, it is asking you immediately to fulfill your duty and to come to a meeting of the knights in Oakhart, in the meeting place called Valhelm, the ancient meeting place of the kings. And some of you may have heard of it or known about it, but it's a spot deep in the forest of Oakhart that is in an old elven, what would you call that? An elven temple that was deep underground and is made of this beautiful marble, and it's carved intricately and has all these ancient carvings in it. And it's unusual too, because there's not really anything else kind of around it. There's a lot of the note had given you directions, and they were very cryptic. They said, enter the forest here. When you get to the northern end, you'll see, a large oak tree. From that tree, you'll head to meet a collection of rocks, and then you will see the opening. And sure enough, it's just kind of there. There's kind of this opening, and as you delve down in, it's filled with magical light, and you begin to see other knights in there. Maybe some of them are ones that you've seen before. And it's, even though it's quiet in this forest up above, as you come down below, you're immediately met with a very busy area, and people are putting their hands out. They're meeting you. They're saying hi to you, and you're kind of being led down, and they say, okay, hurry, we're just about to start. And sure enough, you come into this tremendous rotunda, this kind of six-sided area that's kind of has a large domed ceiling above it. 30-foot marble statues are on either side, and in each of the corners of this six-sided room, there's a beautiful marble sculpture, one representing humans, one representing elves, one representing dwarves, halflings, dragonborn, and one the plane touched. And in that giant carving, in each of them, there are different, as you kind of look at it closer, there's even more intricate, it's almost like a collage, and there's more faces and types, and all these kind of faces and people of these different descendancies in it. And you kind of get this sense of togetherness in this big room. And around the edges of it are kind of all of this, almost like bleacher seats. And you look through in the crowd, and there's familiar faces, and you see a short wizard named Biscuit, and you see another short halfling, right, named Yenni, that you know, halfling. And you see,
I think Biscuit and Diedre might have been traveling together, so maybe we're near each other.
All right, you guys arrive, and Diedre, the half elf, is there, and the goblin Branch is there, and Igneous is there.
I'm a high elf. not a half elf.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. The high elf. The high
It's
elf.
very important, darling. I mean, we're a very long lineage in our family.
Absolutely.
So please do try to keep that straight. Thank you.
Do I see Rx anywhere? Like, the
As
kitty
you
cat?
as you look into the room, there's some faces you see, and in the kind of middle area, there's kind of a big center center of this room, and a dais in the middle. And there's 3 or 4 people kind of in a front row of seats that are kind of facing outwards, and there's a few more people kind of milling about down there, and several of them are kind of wearing these big kind of cloaks that kind of like almost like a judge's robe that kind of have heads over it, and you're not 100% sure, but you think you see them, and maybe for some of you see some other familiar faces down in those cloaks, but you're not 100% sure because they're not in their normal kind of getup. And standing in the center of the dais are 3 people. There's Sora and Kevin, which you guys know, and a third person who's sitting there. And as you're kind of all kind of getting in, and you're realizing now that you haven't really ever seen this many knights in one place before. If you have, it's kind of like you might meet one or a couple. But as you're kind of looking at it, and as you're kind of looking at the caliber of knights that are here, this is people that you've heard stories about. These are just about every other knight that you've seen or worked with is kind of been here. And Biscuit, since you've been on the inside and
I've seen a couple.
have gotten almost every face that you've seen is in the room right now.
Hey, there's that tiefling that drinks a lot and flies around the ship. Hey, Dee, there's that one that has the metal arm. There's that robot. There's the little guy that has the bow and arrow.
A little bit of decorum here in this situation. People typically don't like it when you point and flail your arms at them.
Sorry. I'll try to keep it withdrawn.
It's all right. Also, what did we say about Dee?
Sorry.
Branch will be like, I know many of them. They are friends.
Oh, hi there, Branch.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, good to see you.
You too.
He gives him a big hug.
Okay.
Finally, after a minute, Kevin stands up, and he's got a big booming voice, and he goes, "Okay, friends, it is time to begin." And finally, kind of everybody sits down. He goes, "Okay, sit down," and kind of waits for the room to kind of silence. And he says, "As you know, we are deep into this time of turmoil, and it seems that things have been getting worse in many corners of the world. Despite the victories we keep winning and gaining, magic itself is wild and unstable. There are realms and populations upheaved and displaced, but the end might be in sight. Sora?" And Sora stands up.
Oh my God, that's Sora. I've never seen Sora before.
And she stands up. Everybody silences. And she says, "We have, in the midst of this turmoil, uncovered many new truths from each of you, and we continue to discover more of what is causing this blight on the world. As you know, the strength of the Knights so far has been our atomization, that we are not centralized and can be anywhere and anyone. No doubt we have been underestimated and overestimated to our advantage until now. What you may not know is that there has always been an arm of intelligence and deep leadership in our ranks, Elder Tendros. And you guys look, and an elven man stands up, and he appears very old, more older than any elf that you've ever seen. What you think in human years might be like over 100 years old. And he stands up, and he speaks very clearly and authoritatively. And he says, "Fellow knights, you may not know me, but I know each one of you. I am the keeper of secrets through over 80 generations of head knights. As the keeper of secrets, I have worked only in the background, only to consult and keep record of all the work of the knights. Through peace and through war, there has never been a time like this since the dawn of this organization. Here is what we know. There is a group of beings known as the Elites, the most powerful creatures on our planes, that many of you have helped defeat, and many others that seem to grow more powerful. The question we have been after since this all started here in Oakhart years ago is, where is this power coming from, and why now? He continues, we have uncovered what we are calling the Platinum Syndicate, an extremely powerful pact that has been struck between all of these elites. At some time before this all started, each of them was bound to one of these platinum coins, and out of his pocket he pulls this large coin made of pure platinum that gleams. And some of you guys may have seen these before if you have defeated an elite.
I remember that one.
These have been recovered. He says, while they may seem ordinary, they are imbued with the most powerful pact magic we have seen in this plane. It appears that each of the elites with this coin has forged their soul's energy, the very well of their own being, into this coin. And when one of those in the syndicate is defeated, their energy is distributed to each of the remaining holders of the coin, to the rest of the syndicate. This is why, as we continue to defeat enemies of the lands, more appear with even more power. We now believe that we are at the end of this era. Based on recovered Platinum Syndicate coins, some powerful scrying magic, and a few calculations, we believe that there are only 3 elites remaining in this syndicate.
Question. Are you saying there could be only one?
Here's what I'm saying. All the ones that have been defeated so far share a third of the soul energy of all the ones that have defeated. So they are infinitely more powerful than they could be individually. Sora stands up and she continues. Moreover, we believe that the armies of the fallen elites are pledging fealty to the remaining. We believe that the sum of these armies could be in the hundreds of thousands. We are preparing for a total war. The remaining kingdoms and legions of good in the world have entrusted us, the knights, to be the central command of these armies. We have standing armies from every corner of the world ready to serve. We just need to know who these remaining elites are. Tendros continues. In order to maintain the integrity of our plans, each of you is being given secret and discreet instructions. Some for fighting, some for research, and some for more intelligence gathering. Kevin stands up. And some we are just trusting to do what you think is best. Sora continues.
Kevin.
Yeah, sure.
And some we're just trusting to do what you think is best.
There it is. Sora continues.
I hope I get research, Diedre. I'm sorry.
Sora continues. The instability of teleportation, scrying, and messaging is being felt through all of the realms. The energy shifting is disrupting the order of the weave of magic itself. We can't rely on these anymore. We will no longer be using the Knight's tattoos as communication method. We are going back underground at this moment. That's why each of you received a handwritten letter.
Somewhere in the background, you hear Bartleby be like, "Oh man, rats."
And
Okay,
Tendros
I'm
goes,
all right. I'm all right.
So, wait, pardon me, a little bit of an inquiry, if it were.
Yeah,
Deidre's gonna, raise her hand. Not
yes.
to throw
Yes,
a
Diedre.
fly in the... Yes, not to... hello, Diedre Selenka, you've probably heard of me. Not to throw... Yes. Not to throw a fly in the ointment, but you're saying that with these 3 remaining members of the Platinum Syndicate, let's say that we were to take one of them down, then that would make the remaining 2 all the more powerful. Do you have some sort of a workaround for this?
They all kind of look at each other and they kind of say, we don't have a plan. What we're hoping is that we can find out more information. What we're hoping is that we can just prepare ourselves either to find a hole in their plan, to maybe take them out at the same time, maybe to dilute the power of the magic. We don't know what's all the machinations of how this magic works, just because we're so distant from them, because we've just defeated them all. Really, we're putting things in motion so that if it comes to it and it is all good versus all evil, we're at least ready for that fight. I hope that answers your question.
Well, I mean, you've confirmed that you don't have the answer yet, which I suppose is all we can ask for at this point. Thank you.
As they kind of continue, they say, we're gonna have to break back. We're gonna have to break back down for a little bit. We're gonna have to trust all of us to look for the old ways of communications: carrier pigeons, messengers, hidden codes. You will not be briefed on anything except your specific missions and goals. We do have plans for sections of you, and we're not sharing that with the rest of you just for security reasons. So each of you is going to be given a set of instructions, and we're asking you to keep those secret with each other. And everybody kind of looks around and is not really sure. And so Sora stands up and she points out in the crowd. She says, Maya, Herald of Titania, Tiburon, Shark of the Land and Sea, Melbourne the Faithful, and Gravely, Slayer of Flame, and Steve, you will join me over here. And then Cavan stands up.
Raccoon Man, the drunk, Mr. Longcoat, spell speaker, and talking sword guy with me.
And then Elder Tendros points at
Wait,
the remaining
are
of
you
you.
calling me the drunk?
You know who you are.
Right, I'm flattered.
Who is
I
the
think they're
raccoon?
kind of like code names. Good luck.
All right, and so all of those other characters head off, and we will see what their end of it looks like as we will redo this. We'll redo this scene at the beginning of each time and do it again. And each of you comes with Elder Tendros, and you kind of walk down the steps, and you meet with him, and he's very hunched over, and his ears are very long, and there's lots of white hair coming out of it. He's got really bushy eyebrows, but his eyes are kind, and he has a little bit of a smirk as he's kind of looking at you, like he's got a joke or working on something in his mind. And he says, "Thank you for being here, and thank you for coming. This is very important that we start this bit." And he says, let's head into another chamber. And there's all sorts of doors heading to other places, other little rooms and chambers here. And you guys kind of go down a hallway. And as you're kind of seeing those other knights that were mentioned, you guys all kind of look at each other, and there's kind of this like sense of like not really knowing what's going on, and maybe a little bit of excitement, but also maybe a little bit of nervousness as you're kind of walking through these big empty halls.
So the visual here is Diedre, who is a very tall, lithe high elf, and then a goblin, a halfling, and a rock gnome. Just doop doop doop.
Yeah, we disguise very easily as a family of five.
Oh, and Igneous. Sorry, Igneous is sorry.
Yeah, it's. Are we
2
mommy
talls
and
and 3
daddy?
short.
Yeah.
Biscuit, puts his hand over Yenni's shoulder and he's like, "Hey, it's good to see you again. Hey, you been busy?"
Yeah, I brought jerky for everybody.
Oh, I love jerky. You know what's good? What's good with jerky is a little bit of like whipped butter. Is you just kind of dip it in there but put a little chili flakes on there, so it's got a little bit of a. Maybe we should talk about this later. Maybe we just
I
wait.
did mean to thank you for the lovely polished rock you sent.
Oh yeah, my mom asked me to send you that one.
That was very kind of her.
Hey there, Iggy. How's it
Oh,
going?
it's been good. It's good to see you guys. Yeah, I've been on a lot of solo missions, so it's nice to be working with a team. How have you all been?
Right. Yeah, I saw you on the little. We had a map. Me and Barty, and we were checking out locations, but I mean now it's not a thing anymore. I was working.
Did you
on some
change
stuff.
your hair, darling?
A little bit. I've been letting it grow out a little bit.
right.
Like it?
Yes, it definitely makes a statement.
Hey, have y'all met Branch over here? This Branch,
Sounds
he's
like a
real
yes
good.
that meant no.
Hello.
He's a real talented druid. He's been doing a lot of good stuff. Recently, they did all this stuff, the United Kingdoms, and freed up. Like they fought a dragon, didn't you, Branch? You fought that dragon.
We fought him, but then also the dragon was sort of helping. It was very confusing. Also, hello, Igneous again.
Yeah, good to see you, Branch. I
And,
ran into that crew for a little bit.
Yenni and Diedre, I think I have seen, but hi.
You smell like moss.
Thank you.
All right. Well, finally, you guys kind of come into through this hallway, and you kind of come into this room. And unlike the other ones that were kind of sparse, this one's kind of well furnished, and it's got a bunch of kind of what would kind of look like antique furniture and kind of real kind of classic pieces, and it's very homely in here. And as you're kind of looking, it has this sentimentality to the decoration in here. And Elder Tendros, he kind of comes over and he has a very comfortable chair kind of at the head of a table, and he kind of sits back in it, and he just kind of takes a moment. He looks at kind of each one of you, and takes this kind of knowing glance, and there's like kind of a moment where you can tell he's kind of like matching up, maybe he's kind of like sizing you up, and maybe he seems like he's um, trying to connect information that he knows about you to the face and the person that you are. And uh, Igneous, you actually remember seeing Elder Tendros one time before. You actually handed off a packet of information to him from a solo job that you had done, and this was some information. It was just like the smallest little mission that you had. You had to go into this large city, and there was a bundle of papers that were in kind of this satchel bag, and it was hidden underneath like a park bench or something. It was like a real spy stuff, and you had to kind of recover it, and you had to walk a whole long way and make sure you didn't get spotted, but like it was normal, nothing happened, and you had delivered it to him. You had exchanged like a code word, like bananas only happen on Friday, and he, yeah, that's as in Spain, and then you handed it off, and like that was it. And
Where's Spain?
what's Spain? What does it mean? And that was like the only, like, you're just kind of now like, oh, that was him that I handed the paper to. You didn't even have a conversation or anything, but he just kind of took it and thanked you, and you parted ways. So that's kind of in your head. And so you're kind of wondering if there was other times that maybe you'd seen him or something else. You're just not 100% sure. And he says, I apologize. I'm just it's just so nice to meet all of you. I've been following your careers and your lives here in this organization for such a long while, and it's just nice to know that all of you are here and willing to serve again.
Well, it's nice to be here, and nice to meet you, I guess, formally.
Yes. I know that many of you worked with Alistair Slate before. That incident over there was one of the things that put you each on my radar. I don't suppose you have many other questions, or if there's anything else I can clear up at this point, I could go on to giving you a real general idea of what your part to play in all this is.
That seems like a good idea, please.
Yeah, tell us who we're going to be smashing.
Well, I got one question. We had a cohort back in Red Basin named Arix. Is a Tabaxi fella. Do you know what? Do you know where he is? Is he still on assignment or?
I know of him. Yeah, absolutely. He's great.
Well, that was real short and cryptic. Okay,
Yes.
maybe best left unsaid, I guess.
There are many great knights, and there's so many different skills. when we recognize certain skills in certain knights, we task them with executing those skills. And so I'll say for Arx, he's been very useful these days.
Interesting.
If
Okay.
we need a cat branch, I can be a cat.
Yes, well, that's good to know. And
I think
well,
what he's saying is if you're trying to be friends with the field mice, you don't tell them there's a barn owl in the barn.
Okay.
always wise, Biscuit. Always wise. Well, I'll get to it. Have you heard of the realm called Tavat, the Dragonborn realm?
Oh yeah.
Well,
It's right next to
Marcatia.
Marcatia, yeah. Sorry, I was
And
trying to get my map.
he pulls out a map here, and he kind of you guys take a look at it, and he points over there, and sure enough, there's a section of the map, and most of you have really not interacted with it or been through it, and it's called Tavat. So he says the realm of Kal Tavat is the last of the Dragonborn realms. As you know, they are a closed realm, but they have had a long truce and peace with Marcasia over the last few years. My informants and contacts in Kal Tavat have all gone silent. We haven't heard anything from the entire realm in 6 months.
Uh-oh.
And with the portal plague that we have not felt safe sending knights into uncharted territories of Kal. Vizier Razgarin has been the king of the realm for 40 years. Things were stable there, so I doubt there was a coup or revolt. Frankly, it's a mystery. They could have been at war with another elite, but the fact that they were at peace with Marcasia, they had an agreement that they would help each other in mutual defense. They would have called banners and asked Marcasia to help. Frankly, I have no leads. I don't have any intel, and I have no idea for what to expect for you in Kal Tavat. But here's what I do know. Kal Tavat has one of the largest standing armies. At their peak, up to 80,000 fighters, and their aid could be super important in this time to take back these territories and to grow our numbers. So your mission is to figure out what is going on there, to assess the situation, and ultimately to get their armies on our side.
So you want the 5 of us to go into a Dragonborn realm where something has made the Dragonborn not be able to communicate back with you all, and then convince them that things are okie dokie, and they should join the battle with us.
Yeah.
All right, that seems fair.
Why would they listen to us?
Because we're knights. We're knights, Branch.
But
And we're pretty powerful knights at that. I mean,
if we do not use our tattoos, how will they know we are the knights? And what if they do not trust the knights?
We have had a unique relationship with them that has both honored their isolation preferences while at the same time supporting each other. And we've been able to depend on them for brave fighters and for consultation of raising armies. And they have been an ally in the background, even if they have maintained their nation's isolation from the rest of the realms.
Besides, we're rather charming, I think. Wouldn't you say, Branch?
You are
so,
tall,
yeah.
elf lady.
The other thing to consider is that if there has been a coup, if the realm has fallen into disarray, we'll need your skills of intelligence gathering and subtlety and all of your unique skills together. I think come together to really aid in any situation that could be happening.
and since there is 3 elites out there, and you're thinking maybe, we don't know for sure, but maybe there might be one there, even though there wasn't before.
It could be, and perhaps it was a sudden attack, and uh, if the gods forbid it, but if there are no survivors there, that would be intelligence to know as well.
Yeah. Hey, I know this, but I don't know if everybody else knows this. We had a couple of elites that were in captivity. I mean, all of them are still accounted for.
I'm not at liberty to speak as to
Oh, all right.
that to everyone at this point.
Sure.
For security's sake, you understand?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as far as we know about the coins, like you were saying, once an elite's been defeated and the energy's not in their coin anymore, they're not really, even if they escape, they're not really an elite anymore, right? They wouldn't have that power.
Yeah. What constitutes a defeat? Is it like I give up and then all their power goes away, or like do you have to actually kill them, or as soon as they just lose?
We have a few artifacts and we have a few examples of things that we can look at, but frankly, the magic is the magic that is tied to this coin and is tied to what is binding this together is not like anything we've seen before. It's very powerful, and it's in a language that we're just unable to process or understand or to find more secrets in.
Have we tried smashing the coin? Is smashing the coin an option?
That's a good idea.
We have. Unfortunately, it just makes a smaller coin. With that, he says, make yourselves ready. You'll need to head to the stables to find a mount to take you there. So when you're ready, we can go down there.
I need about 12 hours.
12 hours?
Yeah, I got a spell I got to do before we
Okay.
go. Is that okay with everybody? Just half a day?
That seems like a lot of time to delay. What spell do you need in 12 hours?
It's really important that I have 12 hours to do this spell.
Listen,
so
I've
I can.
been spending a lot of time with Biscuit. If he tells you he needs it, then I think we should respect that.
You should have planned for that. You knew there was a big summit thing. You should have
I
planned for
thought I
that
was
ahead
going
of
to be
time.
on research. I thought I was going to be on research. I didn't know I was going to be out in the field, and I got something new I want to try out.
So with everything that's happening, do you really think that 12 hours is truly going to make a difference?
I have no idea. That's a lot of hours, though. Tendros, would 12 hours be okay?
He says, well, frankly, I'd like a nap. It's been a long day already. So sure, take 12 hours. You can bunk up in here, and then we'll head out in the morning, I guess.
I'm sure we all have a myriad of things we could do with those 12 hours. Yes, Branch?
How long is the journey?
It'll take you a few days journey.
Okay, Branch will take a mountain not to become a mount.
That's a good idea.
Yenni, why don't we take advantage of this time to go sit and catch up? I'm thinking maybe a mud mask. What do you think?
Yeah, my face goes in the mud.
After a fashion, yes.
Biscuit goes and finds a kind of a lab or a room or something like that where he can kind of be by himself and do some prepping.
All right. Any other matter of business?
My skin is radiant.
We could talk to every knight that's here at the summit.
Yeah.
Let's go find and individually have a chat with each and every one of them.
Let's do it alphabetically.
I think that's the best use of our time right now.
Yeah.
Unless some of them did need to delay 12 hours.
No, we'll do it while...
Then they might not be around.
Oh, they're too fast.
They're all getting on the motorcycles and driving off and getting like... It's like the bar after closing time. You're just sitting in there.
Guys, we're going to have 2 more opportunities to do this. We can make sure that the other nights are delayed.
Want to take... It's not a competition.
Yeah, Branch will go talk to some mounts. Because I can speak to
Okay.
animals.
Interviews.
All right. Well,
How long have you been mounted?
Tell me about the time that you did not get along with other coworkers.
What is a mistake that you as a mount have made that you have learned from, and now what would you do differently?
What is your? Can we just have an episode where it's Branch interviewing animals? Just
Yes.
the interview process.
Yes.
Congratulations, you made it to the second round.
Group interview.
Okay,
Oh.
Branch will do background check. Please look on the away from me so Branch can look at back, and then grunt.
How do you feel when I say the word union?
Oh, you know Branch is pro labor. Come on.
You give me resume, and then you type resume into form. All the same information, you type it into a form, please.
Oh,
I know I have resume, but you have to type into form. After a while, 12 hours passes and the morning comes, and you know that the stable manager, Robin Notwise, is the person to go and see. And so you ascend up, and you meet a.
So hold up. So
Yeah,
before
uh-huh.
before that,
Mhm.
Branch, or sorry, Biscuit comes up. He's like, "Okay, thanks everybody. Sorry for taking so long." And right behind him, another figure walks up, and he is about Biscuit's height. And you look at him, and he kind of looks just like Biscuit, except notably, his hair is kind of whitish bluish, and where his lips would be, and lips and cheeks and stuff would be kind of red and pinkish and stuff like that. It's kind of got this like bluish, almost like frostbitten kind of look. And he's like, "Well, come on, it's okay, come on. All right, we're ready."
It's
Oh, no,
and
no.
it-
This
it's-
okay. This is a spell I've been working on. This is everybody. This is Cookie. Say hi, Cookie.
All right. And what is Cookie?
Cookie is my simulacrum.
Okay.
He's a duplicate of me. He can do everything I can do, except he's made of snow.
Oh, which
Okay.
one is the real one?
I am.
The one with blue lips is made of snow, Branch.
Yeah.
Eh.
I mean, it's not meant to be like a visual duplicate, but like he can cast spells and everything.
Oh,
I think it's
Can't you-
weird that he's small.
I think it's weird you're small.
Oh,
It
Tom does not have
Eh.
the same voice. That's interesting. Okay.
okay.
Yeah, the vocal
Well-
cords kind of develop differently with simulacrums.
That's right.
Okay.
You got a
Okay,
problem
wow.
with that?
I just think it's my personal baggage. I can work with this.
Well, it's a real pleasure to meet all of y'all, and thank you. Thank you very much.
Is he permanent, or you got to recharge him, or what?
Well, he
happens?
doesn't have much physical energy as I do. So if he gets knocked out all the way, he can't heal. So, but I figure, hey, it's like 1.5 of me.
All right. Cool.
So it's like a quarter of Igneous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is
right.
what he looks like. This is
Oh,
Cookie.
boy.
Which one do I shoot? Yeah. He's cute.
Come on, Cookie.
I like.
All right, let's
Okay.
go. Let's do this.
Why is he
Okay.
always-
Because that's the
All
only
right,
way I
so
can
you-
keep things straight.
I like it.
It's great.
I like it.
All right, you guys head to the stable, and you see a woman there, and she knows you guys, and she goes, "Oh, hey, y'all! I've got all kinds of mounts here that are ready for you. If you want to take a look and choose your flying steed to take you over, because it's going to be a long journey for you. So
We're
why don't you
ride
go
on
ahead?
a flying steed?
Yeah,
That's
but
amazing.
well,
She's a
you
noble
can
steed.
pick who you want here, and she kind of comes over, and there's a horse that has wings, and
Of
it's a
course.
Pegasus, And she says,
Cool.
"This here's Geronimo." And then she goes over, and there's a lion body with wings and an eagle head, and it's a griffin. And she says, "This is Sally Mae." And then next, there's what looks like an owl bear, but it's very friendly. And she goes over and she kind of pets its little face there, but it has wings. And she says, "This here's Bad Henry." And then she goes over and he goes, "Here, come here, boy." And kind of out of the ground comes this like VW beetle sized bug, and
Is it a beetle?
it's a beetle, and it's as big as a VW beetle, and it is a beetle, and it's one of those rhinoceros beetles that
Oh,
has
those
the
things are
big
awesome.
horn on the front. It says, "Oh, this is Bruce," and then she goes, "Oh, come over here, right over here." And there's a little wormling dragon, like a brass dragon, like a miniature dragon. Like they're just kind of like little baby, like they're kind of like got a round
But
tummy,
still
and,
like
they're-
6 feet long.
It's still very big, but it looks like a little baby. Like it's all chubby in certain places, and
Yeah.
like has
Head
really
slightly
big
too big.
eyes.
Got big
Yeah.
old feet.
And this is Kathy, the chatty brass Kathy, the chatty brass dragon. And he goes, hey, I'm Kathy. Hey, you guys, are we going to go on a little flight? Hey, I hope you choose me for the flight. Gosh, I'd love to go with you. Hey, we're going to go somewhere. Where are we going to go? Hey, I love the way your shirt looks. Oh, and I just like your long ears are really great. Choose me. And he goes, okay. And then
Are
then,
you all hearing that, or is it just because I have speak with animals going on
No,
right now?
we hear that one. We hear that one, Branch. Loud and clear.
Okay. Too much.
And then you guys, you come over, and then there's like a big swan, like a really big swan,
Giant swan.
but it has 2 necks and it has 2 heads. And she says, "And this is Tarvis and Teeves." And they're the 2-headed giant swan. So y'all, you can pick whichever one you want to ride, and they'll fly you out there. So you got Geronimo the Pegasus, you got Sally Mae the Griffin, Bad Henry the Winged Owl Bear, Bruce the Giant Horned Beetle, Kathy the Chatty Brass Dragon, and Tavis and Teeves.
Pick me.
Pick me, please. Hey, let's go.
Branch will go over to Bad Henry and be like, hello, Bad Henry. Is that actually what you like to be called, Bad Henry?
Yeah.
Okay. Can Branch, that is me, can Branch have consent to fly on you? Will you fly and I ride?
Do you have meat?
I am meat, but you cannot eat me, but I can get meat.
That's all we need. Let's go. I'll go wherever you want to go.
I'll take Bad Henry, apparently.
I think somebody just had jerky, right?
Bring me some jerky.
Well, gosh, what are you thinking there, Cook? Cookie, what do you think?
I don't know what I think. Maybe go with the 2-headed swan. Looks kind of interesting.
Are you 2 twins? You should ride on me, and we could talk the whole way there. Jump on.
Is that Chatty Kathy?
That's Kathy, the Chatty Brass Dragon. Yeah.
We
Says,
could
jump
talk
on.
with her.
Watch, I can breathe fire, and kind of and like a little tiny poof, just like kind of comes out. Well, not quite, but I'm almost there.
Hey, I almost slipped into barley. Oh, God. Hey, Diedre, which one are you thinking about picking?
It's so hard. They're all so wonderful. I'll just take whatever the rest of the team doesn't want.
I feel
like
the big
Pegasus
beetle is very friendly.
Cookie looks at Diedre and says,
Well, that winged horse is about as beautiful as you are. So that might be a wonderful thing for you to pick.
Cookie a player?
No.
Is
Cookie, don't
going to be the
it's okay.
love development of this season?
Cookie, don't. Cookie, you can't say stuff like that. You got to keep it as business professional.
don't let don't please go on. I'm open to the suggestion.
Look,
and
he's kind of new to the world. He doesn't know like social cues, so I'm still kind of teaching him. I'm sorry about that.
I mean, I quite frankly, I find his upfront honesty refreshing. She will very slowly approach the Pegasus with her hand out in her back of her hand, like kind of like you would approach a dog.
Mm-hmm.
As she does that, Igneous is gonna approach the griffin because he doesn't want to get stuck riding a bug or a chatty dragon. So he's gonna try to claim Sally Mae.
All right, Sally Mae. And as you guys kind of approach these animals, they nuzzle up to you, and they kind of seem receptive and are used to being ridden, and they take a liking to you.
Leave the chatty one, please.
You guys hear this, and you see the two heads of the swans like fight each other. And they like fight each other, and they're just, and then they stop, and then just like start pecking at the ground again.
Oh, I kind of like them. They're pretty funny.
There are two of you and two of them.
That's true. I mean, that there is a nice little symmetry there, but I also kind of like the chatty dragon. What are you thinking, Yenni?
I want the bug.
Oh, you want that rhino beetle, Bruce?
Yeah.
Bruce
the bug kind of like comes over and then like kind of starts like digging down into the dirt a little bit and like using his big rhino horns to kind of dig in the dirt and like put dirt on himself and then kind of like bristles.
Gross.
DM would God, I keep saying Branch. Biscuit wants to think about, since we are going to a dragon-born dragon realm, dragon-rooted realm. Would riding a dragon be kind of an offense to the dragonborn? Like if they saw that and they're like, "Oh, you're domesticating it," like would he get a sense of like
roll a wisdom history? Yeah.
Okay. Oh, not good. 3 + 2 is 5.
I mean, you think like, hey, they're dragons. That's a dragon. Like, who would be
probably going to go over great. I mean, like they'll see that we really like dragons. So
yeah, they'll see that you like dragons, and that's,
All right. I think we're going to go with Caddy, the chatty brass dragon.
Oh, yay! Hooray, hooray! And she's like, okay, let me go pack my bags. I'll be back in 12 hours, okay?
Can Cookie and I both ride on you, or should he go on the dire swan?
Oh no, you come on, there's plenty of room. Plenty of room for all of you. Yeah, that's totally fine. And she kind of like towers over you as she's kind of like looking down at you and like, oh, I can't wait. Oh, this is gonna be so much fun. Nobody ever chooses me. I don't know why. This is my first like time ever going out. Oh boy. Okay, I'm gonna go pack. Let me see. What am I gonna need for this? Oh, I better bring my shoes. Do you think we'll need an umbrella? Do you think it's gonna rain there? You know what? I'll bring my raincoat just in case, because you never know what's gonna happen out there. Are we bringing food? Are we doing our own food? Are we going in on food? Do we want to just find food on the way?
Probably just
How do we
figure it
want
out.
to do that? Okay.
Hey,
do you want me to Venmo you when we do that, or just kind of? Okay. Okay. Great.
It's not too late to pick the swan.
I don't want to hurt his feelings or hurt her feelings.
Well, she just said she needs 12 hours to pack. Right?
Oh, does she?
Yeah, I did think I heard that.
No, that's a joke. I'm ready to go. I was playing on the 12-hour thing from earlier, but
how did you hear that? We were in a completely different room.
I have really good hearing.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that could actually come in handy. Okay.
I'll go with it. We'll go with it.
All right. So you guys
let's get on this wild mama and let's get out of here.
Get ready.
All right. We're off to a great start, folks. All right. So before you take off, Elder Tendrassi comes back up and he says, "Okay,
Mama.
be ready. But I don't know if this would be useful, but I wanted to give you this. It's called a lake house box, and he gives you this box, and it's about the size of like a locker, but it's made of wood, and it has this. It can kind of go on this little post, and it has a little door on the front that opens up, and the box has a pair that's exact to it in every way, and he hands you the two boxes, and he says, whenever something is placed in one of the boxes and closed, it is passed to the other box and vice versa. And so it's a way that maybe wherever you guys are, if you need to travel, you need to do anything, that you'll be able to communicate or send messages between two different locations. So you can take both of these boxes and use them as you see fit. I feel like they might be useful.
Wherever did you come up with that name?
It just comes to us.
What's it called?
The
The
lake house box. Yeah.
I don't get it.
You put one in.
Look
and
up the
then
movie
it
Lake
appears-
House when you have a chance.
It's like they put things in the mailbox.
It's a time travel one, though. It's time travel instead of
Oh.
distance.
Oh, that's weird. Tundra says, I don't know what you're talking about. This one, there's no time travel. It's just you put one in, and it appears in the other box. and
That
vice
sounds
versa.
very useful.
So it's not chronomancy; it's more of like a graviturgy kind of thing, or a sort of an abjuration. So I'm a wizard. Wizard by trade, and Cookie's a new wizard, but he's as powerful as I am. He's only been alive less than a couple hours, but
Maybe it is quantum. Is that a thing?
no, that's not
Oh.
even a thing. That's not even a thing.
Quantum damn near killed him. And that concludes episode 1.
Yay! What are we gonna play? Let's play. What does that cloud look like? Ooh, that one looks like
That's a great one. Oh, what do you see down there? Oh, it looks real small.
that one looks like a pile of marshmallows. Ooh, that one looks like.
Did you see that tree? Did you see that tree? Oh, did you see that tree?
Oh, I'm gonna like riding this dragon. It's gonna be so much fun.
Oh.
Oh, God.